Welcome back to the Spector Creative Channel with me, your host, Scott Toy Guru Neitlich. I'm a toy collector and professionally a toy maker, and what I want to share today is to talk about best practices and communication between toy fans and toy companies. Because the tactics we take and the tactics toy companies take aren't always the most logical, or the ones that will see the change that we want. So flip over any toy and you're going to see probably an 800 number, a customer service number for connecting with said toy company. And yes, this is a great way to reach a call center, but calling this number and saying, I want to see this figure made in a lineup isn't really going to help. What you need to do is get to the decision maker, not the person there that's going to tell you to return the toy to a store or that you have a defective product. So how do you reach the decision makers? And importantly, how do the decision makers reach you? So advice for both categories. Let's jump in full speed ahead. So as I said, I have had the honor of being in the toy industry and actually working on collector product that as a collector myself, I was actively collecting. A collector collecting. So yeah, why not? And one of the big things I wanted to do with this opportunity that I was blessed with was really treat fans the way I wanted toy companies to treat me. When I would go to toy company booths at conventions, at Comic-Con, WonderCon, New York, all of those things, it was great, but I usually found that when I talked to actual members of the company, it was kind of like they had the whole, banana in their ear thing. They'd be saying, yes, yes, okay, yes, you want to see a Darkhawk figure? Got it, yeah, okay, yeah, Darkhawk, we'll get right to that. Probably they had no idea who Darkhawk was. So this kind of runaround of the yes, no, and maybe without feeling like I actually made an impact was something that I said, hey, I'm in a position where I'm now working in the toy industry, let's make a change. And this is definitely, part of this video is advice to toy companies, but I'm also going to talk about how collectors can successfully contact the toy companies to make these requests. So, quick kind of rounding it out, panels at Comic-Con work way better than booth visits because, while they may not be as big as Hall H, they provide the opportunity to do direct Q&A where you're doing so in front of other fans. Now, I would use these panels to both give information about upcoming product, give sneak peeks of what the product actually looked like, and find ways to actually use that audience to help select new figures. This is validated because there's other fans in the audience. Another thing that I used to do was make videos about lines and post them on YouTube. I first started sort of just doing this with my camera at my desk, and eventually I got a budget to actually do this. The more I did this, though, the more approvals were needed from legal and management and licensors, and it kind of became, is the squeeze worth the juice. But finding ways to actually talk directly to collectors, the benefits were way outweighing the amount of energy it took to do it, especially when it was as simple as putting out product at trade shows like New York Toy Fair. So, obviously, social media is a big thing that toy companies use, and I can actually proudly say I was literally the first Mattel Facebook page ever. In fact, when Mattel later on had an official clause for how to use Facebook as a company, I had to be grandfathered in because I was already running a Facebook page for the fan community before they came up with a sort of official company policy of how social media should work. So anyway, just an interesting story of ways that toy companies can improve reaching out to the collectors. So let's now look at the other side of this and talk about how collectors can more successfully reach out to toy companies. And again, the reason I did a lot of that background is because I wanted to cover things like fan panels and conventions, but honestly, going up to a brand manager at a convention, the idea that they're going to be able to give you their full attention or even remember what you said, they're exhausted. And signing an online petition, yeah, seems like a great idea on digital paper, if you will, but it's not something that's going to have a huge impact. What is going to have an impact is writing a letter. It's kind of like when we used to write letters to the editor and comic books and magazines, and you'd hope that it would get published, and you'd win a no prize for pointing out why something was wrong. When I say write a letter, very specifically I'm saying write a letter. Pick up a pen. Don't just send an email. Emails can be deleted and are deleted very easily and quickly, especially because brand managers get thousands of emails a day. Writing a physical letter with a pen, with a pencil, with a crayon, well, maybe not a crayon, but actually sending something physical is a major difference between sending an email. The emails will get deleted, but a physical letter written to a brand manager at a company is going to sit on their desk. It's the whole idea of sending your customers something physical. Well, flip it the other way around and think of it as sending the people in charge of a line something physical. It's actually going to sit there like a beacon on their desk. And until they open it, or even after they open it, it's going to constantly remind them that there's feedback from the fan base. And yeah, of course they could throw it away just like you can throw away an email, but even doing that creates something physical. It fills up a trash can. Do not underestimate sending out a physical written letter. But how do you write that letter? And how do you compose it in a way that's actually going to have the biggest impact on a brand manager and not just get lost in all the shuffle? So there's definitely some ways to do that. First off, you got to figure out who to write it to. And one way you can do that, obviously, is you can use professional services like LinkedIn, which will ideally, with not too much research, will help you figure out who is the brand manager for the toy line that you're looking for. But honestly, if you can't find the name of your brand manager through LinkedIn, you can just write the letter, Dear Toy Company, care of brand manager of, X brand, my favorite brand. Just fill in the name of your brand. The mailroom will figure it out. Believe me, I got many letters written to He-Man brand manager, and they always made it to me. Now, the other advice I have is get to the point. Get to the point very quickly. Brand managers are ridiculously busy. They are very hardworking. Start your letter off just saying, look, I really enjoy your line. I love the work you're putting into it and the whole team, but here's what I'd like to see in that line. And keep it simple and straight. List out 5 characters you'd like to see and maybe images with those.
No more, no less.
If you do more than 5 and you list out hundreds of characters you'd like to see and exact outfits and make it this appearance, it's going to get lost because it's going to just be overwhelming and the brand manager is going to be like, I don't have time for this. I have 1,000 things I have to do. But a simple, very straightforward letter listing out 5 characters you'd like to see in this scale, and here's an image of that character, that's going to get read. And it's easy for them to take that letter, a single page, and drop it off on a designer's desk. Now, keep in mind, most brand managers don't have huge knowledge of their brand. They may have seen some of the content, they may have seen a movie or two from their brand, but they haven't seen every movie, every episode, every book, every comic ever the way a lot of us have as fans. Their knowledge is going to be less. They may have an encyclopedia for the brand sitting on their desk for reference, but they may have only read a handful of actual issues of a comic book or seen a few wrestling matches. The chance of a brand manager being a huge fanboy or fangirl is limited. Yes, there are some out there. There are absolutely people in the toy industry that are giant fanboys, but it's fewer than those that are just standard brand managers who are good at marketing, which is what a brand manager is. It's someone who understands marketing and probably has an MBA from a top school. So giving them a very short, condensed list of 5 characters with reference and saying, this is who I want, makes it easy for them to understand. It's that whole, keep it simple, stupid model that they always tell people in, business school and other, marketing type techniques. If you write a physical letter, yes, one might get lost, but if a lot of people do this, it's going to make an effect. And it's going to wake up the brand team that these are characters people want to see. It's all about putting something physical on their desk and making it super simple to understand. I hope this was an informative video. Leave a comment below, always open to topics, and a subscription really helps because it tells YouTube to share this with other people. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.